Welcome to the Mackenzie podcast for 2026, a once-a-year adventure to be had on the bike. And this podcast is about making sure that you can prepare well so you can make it most of that one epic day in April. I'm Richard Greer, and this is the first podcast in the build-up to the 2026 edition of the event. I'm the team captain at Team CPNZ, a coaching company based in Canterbury and working with athletes all over New Zealand, all over the world. We work with people on all different sort of levels. So if you want a little bit of guidance to a lot of support, we're there to help you out and hopefully also be able to cheer you across the finish line on the day. And speaking of cheering you over the finish line on the day, we're going to speak to Kerry Uren at the moment. But on today's podcast, we're also going to speak to Gareth Brouwer, who is coming back to have another crack at the event for this year. Gareth would be the, what I'd say, ambassador for the event. He's super passionate and, pretty fun chat with Gareth as well that we've had that we're going to add into the podcast. But Kerry, are you there? Come in.
Yes. Hi, Richard. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. It's perfectly timed to catch up today because you've just been up on course over the course of the weekend and sussing it all out, checking out the what it's all about. Looks like you had the perfect weather as well as we in Canterbury were rained on and hailed on and all the rest in the Mackenzie country.
I know. It was like just the most perfect weather, and we were thinking, if we could just dial this in for race day, we're set. But you know what events are like, we'll get what we get. But No, we just got the most amazing footage, and if anyone's going to go online and have a look, it was just perfect.
You've done very well. That's awesome. So tell us a little. What was the reason for heading up there over the weekend? What were you doing?
Right, so we went down to do what we'd call a recce of the course.
Yep.
So we also took our safety manager. So obviously the ops manager was there, and we had the safety manager there, our water safety manager, and then some other parts of the crew that'll be managing different zones.
Yep.
It's a massive, the course is just huge. So we've got a lot of people involved, and we just like to get down there before the event and just go over everything. Working out extraction plans and, what are we going to do in certain scenarios, if the river's up or if there's any certain weather conditions, and, just all the background bits and pieces for any sort of outdoor adventure activity and making sure everyone's safe. And, we just want to have a super slick race day and everything to go smoothly. So this is all the background bits and pieces. And then, it might look like we weren't working, but we had a couple, the safety manager and water safety manager in the front, and me and the ops manager in the back with our notebooks trying to write when we were going over the bumpy road. So it was a pretty busy weekend, even though it might have looked like we were just out exploring. But
it did look like the few photos I've seen this morning did look like you were having quite a bit of fun, to be honest. It wasn't looking like it was battling too much, but I do. Maybe you should show me that notebook, see how scribbly it actually looks, sort of thing.
It was pretty bad.
Bounce around, because I was thinking actually as you said that you've been up there, of what vehicle you're taking. Your vehicle, you need a pretty full-on four-wheel drive vehicle to get up into these parts, but sound like you are in the in their vehicles as such, opposed to trying to drive yours.
Yes, no, I would have taken mine, but I'm a bit of a four-wheel drive princess, Richard. I have a four-wheel drive, but I don't want to ruin it. So, And I think there's a couple that like to drive themselves. So I was like, that's fine. And then I got some good content and got to write. But, we were, Nick, my ops manager, and I in the back were in fits of laughter at times because I was like, what have I written? Because we actually couldn't tell. So anyway, we had a few laughs. So, yeah. Yeah,
good stuff. So how, the course, obviously, you're only allowed on this course once a year. That's one of the key things, isn't it? It goes across Godley Peak Station. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep. So in terms of the course, obviously, does it change much from year to year, or how's it looking?
Well, it's actually looking perfect at the moment. Yep. So whenever I talk to Grant, the farm manager, and I ask him how the bluff's looking, and he says every time they're looking very bluffy.
Yeah.
So never know quite what they're going to look like, but they were awesome. So they were nice and clear. We got through the year. It's pretty good in a full drive, but it's looking really good through the farm, and it's quite dry at the moment. Last year we had a really muddy, we sort of had a big dump of rain just before the race. So it was quite muddy through the farm, but at the moment it's just perfect. So, it was looking really good. The river's good. They've got the one, it kind of changes depending on the rain, but the main braid is always in a certain point on the river, and it was sitting where we thought it was going to be. So, just can't wait for everyone to see it. It's just, we were standing up there and I said to someone else, it's like pinch me moments when you get to go up into that kind of country, because it's a real honor to be allowed through there. So, we just can't, we were just fizzing. We were like, I can't wait for everyone to see it. So
that's right. I think one of the things with riding it last year is that you realize as you go further and further back there is it's just big country, isn't it? Like big mountains. It's proper up in the head of sort of the Mount Cook Range and things like that, underneath that stuff. And you don't kind of, like from a distance, you don't kind of fathom that, but you actually ride up in the mountains, aren't you, at the top end of that station where you end up crossing the Godley River.
Yep, there's like no paddocks. You're riding under one lot of mountains, and then there's 2 kilometer, as the flow cries, to the other side of the crow flies to the other side of the river, and then these other mountains, and it's just I don't know who you'd be if you weren't just standing there just going like, holy, like this is very cool. So I think people come back every year, and then I think the people that are new to it just gonna kind of be blown away.
Nice. So there's kind of 2 courses really, isn't there? There's 2 loops going on. The drover, those that are crazy enough to take that on, actually do both of those loops. Did you head off in towards the left? Do I say left? Or you know what direction that actually is if we're heading towards Lake Pukaki?
Southwest,
maybe. Sorry, that's why I said left.
South of Tekapo. So we kind of call it our canal loop is our what we call it, but it's so the shepherd riders also get to do that, which is that 77k gravel ride. Cool. And so we've got two races doing that loop. Last year we just had the drover, and it felt like a bit of a waste because it's just so scenic, and they were down there quite a bit of it in the dark. If they rode a bit slower, they would have seen a bit more, but they're so quick, some of those riders. That's so fast. Yeah. So, and that was cool because that actually follows the Alps to Ocean Trail right down to Lake Pukaki. Mm-hmm. And then you head up the side of Lake Pukaki, and you can see, like, we can see Mount Cook just through, that's spectacular in itself.
Yeah,
and
100%.
And then you turn off the side of Lake Pukaki and head out, there's a bit of an uphill, and then you head up sort of onto the terraces, basically, sort of between the 2 lakes, and you just ride there, and it's just beautiful. Yeah, like I just keep thinking like Big Sky, like that was just, it's just so vast, like it's just for miles, it's
Nice. So a question for you into the hard bits. You're driving, obviously, but you're bouncing around the back of a full driver. So you probably got a bit of a feel for how bouncy and bumpy things were, plus also how challenging they would be. On the 2 courses, where are the hard bits, would you say, on the canal loop versus the, what do you call the other loop? The Tekapo loop?
Through like the Lake Tekapo loop. So, so the canal loop is pretty easy riding in the sense that it's gravel, a bit of seal in sections. I would say the hardest bit for the canal loop would be coming off out of Pukaki and up to Braemar. There's just a bit of a slog. You kind of get that feeling like it just sort of going on a wee bit, and you kind of like, and then and when they're going to get to the aid station, I think we're talking about aid stations in a wee bit, Richard, but you get to this aid station, I think it's going to be a really welcome spot for people, because I think they would have felt like they'd had a bit of a slog just after the lake. So I think if people prepare themselves, it's all just kind of smooth sailing, and then they're just going to have to prepare that actually, they've just got a little bit of a push to get off the side of Lake Pukaki. So I'd say that would probably be the most challenging part of that loop. Mm-hmm. And then around the lake, it's definitely the bit through the farm. That's the most sort of, it's pretty good gravel riding most of the course, but through that farm and round the rivers, that's like real mountain biking. It's not single trail, but it's, you're on farm tracks. It's pretty rugged, a little bit of water. Just, you think maybe I'm only going to get the water at the river, but there's actually quite a few bits of runoff and a few sort of sludgy bits, that you got to get a wee bit wet before you get to the end. So I think I know our daughter's done it a couple of times, and that was her sort of surprise the first year. She was like, I was wet pretty much as soon as I got on the farm. So, maybe wear some nice merino socks and, but that would be the main bit, I think, through the farms, through the bluffs. Definitely the bluffs are the most technical. There's some quite rough shingle, depending on where they've had a few wee slips, and they're always tidying them up. But, there's always a little bit left on the road. So, I would say that would be the most challenging. And then depending on how confident you are with the water crossings, obviously the river's a bit of a challenge for some people, but we've got a great crew. We have they're called the Rats, but they're like the Swiftwater rescue team through there that are supporting people crossing, and they don't mind getting in and helping people if they need a bit of support. So I would say it's a good event to do if you think, I'd like to give it a go, but I don't know if I'm confident enough, because we have a heap of support. Like, we've got well over 100 crew out on course. So there is a lot of support. You're not left on your own up there. So, then you get back on the other side of the lake and it's just pretty smooth. A couple of wee hills that I nicknamed the Hills of Regrets, because I can imagine we're getting abused at a couple of times on that carpet. But, and then once you get through them, it's just straight down into Tekapo, and it's, Mount John's a good marker point. You can see Mount John, you just know, get closer and closer, and then you're almost home. So
you're getting there at that stage. Yeah. So for those people that did it last year, we had to go up the river, up the side of the lake, and back again. So that tough bit that you're just explaining meant that we had to do that twice.
You did.
So I think there was quite a few people coming back to do it because they needed to see what the other side of the lake is like, and see how smooth the sailing it is over there. And but maybe they'll be bitten by the Hills of Regrets at the end of it anyway, and maybe prefer that they didn't.
We did. We had a woman who had done the ride in 24, so she'd got right around the lake, and then last year we had to do the out and back, and she liked the out and back more, which was quite cool for me to hear, because I was like, obviously we're all disappointed you can't get through the river. But because she said you don't get to go on this farm any other time, so she said I got a completely different view. We got to go on that station twice. So I think there's, it's not bad if you can't get across. You get to have that.
And I felt like it was quite rough in places, quite rugged, quite rocky and things. Yeah. So like I rode my gravel bike and it was pretty full on coming back again. So I felt that was quite a good challenge just to be able to get back down the lake again. I wasn't exactly sure where I was going, so it was all just part of just keep pedaling hard until you've had enough. But one of the things that I think I've talked to a few people about this is these aid stations you've got. They're kind of becoming world famous in Mackenzie country, Kerry, around the bacon, the smell of bacon cooking while you're riding past. It's pretty enticing. Drawing you in, just need me to stop, please. So I know. I guess there's that part of it. But before we talk about the around the Lake Tekapo, you mentioned that Braemar station climb, and you mentioned being at the top of the hill and having the aid station there. Is that sort of, have you got downhill after that from Braemar station? You've got the aid station?
You actually do a bit of a down, you come off the hill and you do this sort of downhill corner, and we've actually positioned it at the, we've sort of been calling it the Irishman Creek Hut, but it's actually the Irishman Creek Roadman's Hut. So we thought, let's call it the Roadman's Hut. It's so cool. It's on the Te Araroa Trail, and you can actually sleep in it, and it's got some quite cool graffiti on the wooden side, and there's a fire. Like, it's a fully functioning wee tin shed. It used to be a telegraph hut. There's heaps of history. The early 1900s it was built. It's very cool. So we've got the aid station there, and you'll be able to see it when you turn this bend, and I think people just be like, oh yes, like
gosh, good.
Park up there, and it's just so beautiful, and that's going to be a really welcome sight when you see that.
Good stuff. So I talked about bacon. Is there bacon at every aid station, or have you just got selected aid stations where there'll be bacon cooking and barbecues going on?
Yes, we're going to have just the bacon will be after the rivers. So that's the big one. We had Toasties the first year, and we had the bacon buddies, but they were an absolute hit. So we're going to do the bacon buddies after the river, and we have other food like fresh fruit and all sorts, lollies and all sorts of things there. But and then the one that's on the canal, we call the canal loop, which is for the shepherd and the drover. And we're going to have a bit of a high tea kind of party there with like scones and jam and cream and all sorts of goodies. So, we kind of want to mix it up. Yeah, because we don't want the drover riders having bacon buddies twice. So that's not fair. So,
That's right. I'm talking over bacon. Yeah, so a bit more rugged was what you're saying with the bacon around the Tekapo loop, and a little bit fancy for the drover loop.
Yeah. So
probably makes sense with the ruggedness of through the farm, the Godley Peak Station versus the Alps to Ocean Cycle Trail. I think that sort of probably fits your type of rider a little bit as well. Not saying that Tekapo Loop riders are carnivores. There could be some vegetarians heading over that way, but it does make sense.
I think there might be a few that might be, Richard.
Yeah, there could be, but that's so good. And is there any other sort of things that you are looking to improve, do differently? Other things for us to look forward to for this year's event?
I think we're just every year, Richard, we're just getting better at kind of everything like it's because we're in an alpine location, things get thrown at you at the last minute. So it just feels really good going into it with another year under our belt and kind of having different conditions last year. That as a team, there's so many of us, it's a big bunch of people behind the scenes that pulled this off. So it just feels great knowing, it's like on the weekend, just having another go round and just sorting everything out. I feel like we're a well-oiled machine now. And even just the community groups that get in behind it, the school groups that are doing the aid stations, and a lot of them are the same people and they love it. Like they get in there and have a great day. We have a local family that are homeschooling and it's their chance to kind of get their kids involved in something like this. So there's a lot of heart and soul in it that's outside of even just our team. It's a big community thing. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, good stuff. As I'm talking right now, hopefully you can't hear the rain that's pelting down. It might even be hail on the studio roof right now. Can we hear that, Kerry? This is not a vibe for the Mackenzie. Oh, you can't hear? Oh, God. That's not good. It's just got pretty hairy out there. But I'd say hats off to you, because that's one thing that your events you do so well with is getting the community involved and the people that are on the ground involved, and they want your events to come back again because of that. So that's pretty cool to create this community atmosphere. Obviously you're overseeing it and running the event and doing the marketing and all that sort of stuff, but you couldn't do it without the people to run it. But it's the community that want to have this event back because it's so good for them as well, and local businesses and all that sort of stuff.
I know it's a big weekend, and I think that's one thing, because we do Merrill Race Tekapo as well, and we've learnt that it boosts as a massive boost to the economy and for Tekapo, and because we've purposely chosen the events to be in the shoulder season, so it might be typically a quieter weekend. This year, because of Easter, we've ended up in the school holidays, but we sort of try and avoid being in the holidays and on a busy weekend. So it means that they've got the capacity to put some effort into the event, and and you've been there before, but there's such a vibe. Like there's most of the people that are at the race have traveled to get there, so everyone just wants to have a good time. So we kind of feel quite a bit of responsibility in making sure that everyone actually has a really fun weekend and kind of meet their goals. Like we have our most unfortunate award again, because that poor guy last year that fell off at the finish line and cut his lip and had to go get stitches. I don't know if we heard of that though. Do you want to quickly, does he want it to be shared again? I feel like you should. Tell us, Kerry. Oh, I thought he's going to be so sore the next day, because he went, he crossed the finish line and he must have just done something with his brakes. He just went straight over the front and he just put this big hole through there. Like I think if he wanted to, he could have put his tongue through. Like it was split right open.
Oh, no.
He went down to Twizel, got stitched up, and we were like, oh, we're going to have to, reach out to him afterwards. And anyway, turned back up, and he was spotted out in the race village with this big sort of white pad on his face and drinking beer and having a great time. But he definitely looked like he was there with his mates, and I think he probably had a marvelous night. But I did think that next morning it wouldn't have been very pretty, and I thought he won't have anyone looking after him. And
that's right. Well, he did well with that level of skill, can I say, to make it all the way around to the finish line. It just turns out that maybe he was celebrating too much. Maybe it was double fist bump, and he should have just done one fist bump.
Oh, he should have. Yeah, that's why we had to give him the most unfortunate. But every year, I guess it's any events like it, you hear some really outrageous stories. You're just like, how did that happen? It was just,
how do you do that? That's right.
How do you do that? Yeah. So so we thought we'd better have a bit of fun with it, because it's it's just a bit of fun, really. Yeah. That's
right. That's so good. That's brilliant. Well done, Kerry. Is there anything else to add before we're gonna jump into chatting to Gareth in a moment? Is there anything else to add or share, or others that anyone should be thinking about from sort of here into race day?
I think maybe one, make sure you enter it, because obviously we want you there. So make sure you get your entry in, and I think just making sure you got your bike sorted. have a look at the compulsory gear, because don't underestimate the fact you're in an alpine environment. I think that's the big thing. Even on a beautiful day, you're still going to get wet. So make sure you think about that. Yeah, just check. Everything's on the website. So I think as long as people have a good read and don't just sort of glance over it, and just get prepared, get a bit of hill training in. Richard, would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. Yeah, I guess that's what I learned last year, was that it's rougher than I thought it was going to be. And then also those hills are nuggety sort of thing along that farm. So that and also the hills, even just straight out of Tekapo, are honest too. So I mean, the beauty of hills is that there's nowhere to hide. Like, they're honest, and they'll make you fit and you're strong as a result of riding them. So and then when you get to those hills, you can just keep chipping away. We've got last year's podcast. I'd recommend that you jump in to have a bit of a listen to them if you're a podcasty type of person. So do that. But yeah, it's about being ready for that, and then once you get to race day, pacing yourself well and organizing your nutrition, which were two things we're going to have a talk about in this podcast series as well. So but if you do some preparation and get your body ready for that, you're just going to hopefully have more fun and not collapse across the finish line.
Yes. Yeah, no stitches. Yeah.
Exactly. No, good stuff, Kerry. Well done. Great to hear some stories about getting out and about on the weekend, and stoked to hear that it's looking good and the sun was shining. I expect that that's going to continue on, and we'll look forward to catching up with you on race day.
Great. Thanks, Richard.
Good job. Well done, Kerry.
Bye.
Cool. Thanks,
Bye.
heaps. Take care. So just like that, fantastic to catch up with Kerry as always. She's definitely pretty enthusiastic, and she puts lots of energy and effort into the event. We're going to have to tap to Gareth now. Gareth basically comes for the vibes. He came last year, he's tuning up again, and I would say Gareth would be the definition of what an ambassador should be for your event. So you'll be things to be learnt of what Gareth has to say. So over to Gareth. Righto, we're here with Gareth Brouwer. Gareth is an enthusiastic bike rider and is lining up on the Mackenzie again this year after towing the start line last year. How are you feeling about the event again this year, Gareth?
Yeah, great. Looking forward to it. And hopefully this year we can make a full lap of the lake. It'd be great. Yeah,
good stuff. What's your background before we sort of go too much deeper into the Mackenzie specifically? What have you done in terms of riding bikes in the past?
I've always ridden bikes since as far back as I could fall off them. I've done heaps of stuff. Mainly sort of mountain biking is where my interests are, but just sort of recently in the last year or so, gotten into gravel and a little bit of road. We've done. I was a road cyclist for a 2-day team on the coast to coast, so that was fun. Looking to do a few more gravel races here and there, and maybe some more mountain bike races this year as well. We'll see how we go.
Good. So you've got a fairly full schedule ahead of you of lots of different things to look forward to, but. Last year, reflecting back on last year, obviously the weather meant that we couldn't get all the way around the lake. But how did you find the event last year?
It was good. It's a really well run event. It was my longest ride to date. That one was, and so it was a good challenge. And I was riding it with a mate, and so we were kind of bit competitive as well, which was adds an element to it. But the whole day is pretty awesome. And then parking up on the lakeside at the end with a cold beer and some food just makes it even better.
Yeah, it's a pretty good view. It is a very good finish line sort of vibe going on. Which event did you do last year?
I did the Drover last year.
Right. Okay. So you did. I can understand why it's the longest event you've ever done. That's a big job. Starting early in the morning, I was actually pretty pleased that I was not starting early in the morning because it was kind of rainy. Looking out the window, seeing you guys start. So, What were you? 6 o'clock in the morning, was it? It was kind of dark as well.
6 o'clock. And it's surprisingly well. I mean, it is a dark sky reserve, so it's surprisingly dark there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it just felt like forever for the sun to come up. Probably came up around 7:15 in the morning, but that first hour to hour and a half while you're waiting for the sun to come up is it's just pretty tough. But
So I guess I need to ask the next question is: are you doing the Drover again, or have you referred to a more sensible option of maybe just the lap around the lake rather than the extra out and back?
Yeah, more sensible option this time around. I'm going to do the muster. So just the lap around the lake. Figured did the big one last year. So that's.
No, good. So kind of finishing off the bit that you didn't do. So you did this first bit, and then you're just going to finish off the other bit.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm just going to let the dog in. She's going to keep barking. Hold on, mate.
Okay. Yeah, good stuff. I like it. The challenge for last year as we rode it was we rode up and back the same side of the lake, which was the rough section, so up and down. Which bike did you ride last year, Gareth?
I was on a gravel bike. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So how did you find that? Like the gravel bike for the first part of your ride on the Drover would have been the go. You'd have been happy ass. But how did you go on the half of the ride down the down beside the lake?
Yeah, it's it was pretty nuggety. It's definitely where my sort of mountain biking background came in, and I kind of enjoy underbiking sometimes. It makes things a wee bit interesting, but spicy. So doing the bluff section twice, on a full rigid gravel bike was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I like that comment, underbiking. I like that. I like it. Back in the old days, when I first started biking, the mountain bike I had was fully rigid. I think suspension was invented, but it wasn't that it was like on a lower lean bike, you just didn't get it. But what I found when you went to suspension is that you just went faster, and therefore if you fell off, you just made a bigger mess of yourself, sort of thing. So it just becomes technically a bit more challenging, doesn't it, on the gravel bike? And obviously handlebars are a different setup as well. Yeah.
I think it's definitely doable on a gravel bike. All the fastest times were on gravel bikes. It's definitely doable. I did put the fattest tires I could fit on my bike. So I had 50 mil wide gravel tires on, and I definitely recommend that to anyone looking to bring a gravel bike. Fit the biggest tires you can.
Yeah, and tire pressure is really key as well. That's one thing I did. I live in Kauai, which is not far from the Waimate River. I actually rode down there and just rode across the riverbed, and to see what there's the lowest pressure I could cope with without sort of smashing into with a tubeless, obviously, without tubes there to make sure I wasn't dinging the rims. It's key as well, isn't it? Because without any suspension, you need to make sure you have a bit of leeway to be able to hold yourself on bumping down this hill.
Yeah, well, your tires become your suspension then, don't they? So
exactly. And obviously last year riding that rough section twice on the gravel bike, that makes it even more interesting as well.
Yeah.
No, you've done well. That's good. So would you recommend like a gravel bike? Like I guess my experience in terms of which bike to ride, I would still ride the same bike again. I'd still ride the gravel bike, but I think for if you're turning up just to have a good experience, then I reckon almost the mountain bike's probably almost the best way to go if you're just going to be out there to enjoy it. What would your thoughts be there?
I guess the best bike for the job's the bike you got, I suppose. So if you've got a gravel, you bring your gravel. If you've got a mountain, bring your mountain bike. But I think it would probably definitely make for a bit more of a comfortable day on even a hardtail like XC mountain bike would be pretty good. It's definitely doable on either. For sure.
Yes. Yeah. Did you stop for Bacon Buddies last year? I rode past them. I smelt them. I was like, oh my gosh! But the red mist has come down. I've got too competitive, and here I am. I'm not going to be able to stop. But what was your?
I was in the same boat. Yeah, I was chasing down my mate who had passed me at about the 70k mark, and I was very tempted, but there was a bit of a line, and I was like, no. So I missed out this year. last year. But I think this year, I'll stop for one, maybe even two to make up from last year.
Yeah, was your mate in the line? I guess you would have been hoping he was in the line, but
yeah, I was hoping, but I couldn't see him, and I was like, oh man, I better go because try and catch him down. But he was too fast for me. He beat me by a long shot.
Oh, so in hindsight, you should have stopped.
In hindsight, I probably stopped for a picnic. Yeah.
Yeah, good. What's the goal this year? Getting around the muster event.
The goal this year is to just get out there and have a good time. Have hopefully no mechanicals, and stay rubber side down is what I like to say. Is the goal.
And why the Mackenzie? Why do you want to turn up for the Mackenzie?
I like to try find races that take you places that you can't go ordinarily. Mm-hmm. So this one's pretty awesome because you can get round the back of the lake on all it's all private land and stuff that's been given to us to ride on the day. And the views are awesome. And the race vibe is great there,
Yeah, good stuff. On the start line, it can all get a bit frantic, can't it? Because it's a bunch start. Everyone starts together early in the morning. Everyone's a bit edgy, etc., etc. How do you kind of manage it, and how do you pace yourself off the start line? What are you doing? It's a couple of kilometres, really, isn't it? Until things start to settle down a little bit.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've got a pretty bad track record for getting swept up in the fast boys, and it's something I'm going to try work on this year. It's kind of my go-to race strategy is just hard out the gate and then just blow up about halfway through the race, But, So this year we're going to try and dial it back a wee bit. Because I remember last year I was in one of the faster bunches, and once you're in a bunch, you kind of don't want to lose them. And I was just working for it, and it was it was quick. No doubt about that. But it was I was definitely burning matches that I did not own. So
you were paying the price. Okay, you didn't own. Okay, you're burning matches and borrowing them off like somewhere.
Yeah, I went to the match bank and took out a match mortgage and it was
and you're paying seriously for those. Those mortgages have to be paid back at a serious interest rate later in the race, don't they? It's ugly.
It takes a few bacon buddies to pay those ones back.
A few beers at the finish line. Oh, that's rough. Right, so you're not a good person to ask in terms of how do I pace myself and don't go too hard at the start. Your job is just full send and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I do need to ask, button-up Hawaiian shirt, will you be riding in one next year?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's a signature look, yeah.
Okay, you've got to do that. Is there anything else that like riding your gravel bike? It's a bit of a gravel thing, isn't it? Sort of a bit more laid back rather than the full lycra kit. Is there anything else that you sort of try and pair with your button-up Hawaiian shirt? Shorts, long socks?
No. Oh, you've always got colourful socks on. That'll be a surprise on the day. I don't know what I'm going to wear, but I'll always have a couple of packets of Haribo Volcanoes on me as well.
Okay.
That's the go-to.
Right.
That's the go-to race nutrition. Apart from that, it's me on my purple bike and my Hawaiian shirt. Yeah. Do you share those lollies at all? Or are they just for you? No, share them out. Yep. Yeah,
okay,
sure.
That's part of the vibe.
I'll see you there. I'll hit you up. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Any top tips for first timers having stood on the start line last year? Was there any sort of recommendations, things you learned from last year that you probably do that better next time or for others that are turning up?
For sure. I think for anyone doing the Drover this year, I think don't skimp on lumens because it is very dark and there's no street lights where you're going, and and that first hour and a half you need all the light you can get, and because you're not riding on the road, you're riding on the gravel, you're trying to pick the smoothest, most compact line in a sea of stones. So so having all the light you can get to light up your path is pretty key. The other one I'd say would be to try and eat and drink early and often. When you're on the gravel getting bounced around, there's not a whole lot of opportunity to break out your OSM bar or whatever. So when you do get those smooth bits of gravel in between the craziness, just you get some food in and some water, and keep on top of it. So you don't want to bomb.
Because did that mean that you, like those matches that you had, sort of got wet because you weren't eating enough? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was a tough one. I think I'd probably try and use a lot more like sort of liquid carbs as well. Just because you are like, I mean, we were rattling down the road at like, I don't know, maybe 35 k's an hour, like just going full noise, and your heart rate's through the roof, and you're trying to eat as well, but also not stack it or anything, or crash at other riders or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty crazy in those early stages, but it's definitely a lot easier to get liquid in than food. And probably my last tip, which is, I mean, a lot of people probably heard this before, but don't try anything new on race day. That's key. Yeah.
Was there anything that you tried new on race day that potentially you shouldn't have?
No, just from past races, not on Mackenzie anyway, but past races, definitely try all your nutrition, try all your, like you said, your tire pressures. You don't go out there with a new bib shorts or anything like that. You want to just try them at least a week before or something. Make sure it's going to work for you.
So what you're saying is you tried your Hawaiian button-up shirt beforehand. You tried your full send at the start of a race beforehand. All those things, and tried and tested.
Yeah, they don't necessarily work.
Okay. What are you most looking forward to at the Mackenzie?
Most looking forward to hopefully making it across the river on the far side of the lake, and then seeing what's on the other side. That's
that top far side, as you're sort of getting across all the way, like a couple of k's across there, and that top side of the river, see what that's about. Pretty cool environment though, isn't it? Like getting up there, you don't really get a sense of it when you're in Tekapo, but just you're right up underneath sort of the Southern Alps into where Mount Cook is, and those great big mountains. It's pretty amazing up the top there, isn't it?
And hopefully we get another good day this year, and and it'll be awesome.
Yeah, good job. Well done, Gareth. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for your enthusiasm, and hopefully you can take all that enthusiasm to the start line and push full send and give it heaps this time around as well.
Yeah, sounds good. Awesome.
Well done.
Thanks for having me.
See ya.
Sweet. See ya.